Hello, Libra. This is your reading for the week of October 5th through 11th. Remember, Libra, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And we open up the reading today with the Creativity Oracle, and this one says, obstacles. Do not dwell on how you are going to surmount obstacles presently in your way. No dwelling on them, just taking care of business. Yeah, I like that energy. I think that's good because a lot of us, we get the obstacles and we obsess over them. We worry about them. We fret over them. We overthink them. We overanalyze them. And then what? You know? So I think that's going to be really good advice. We're going to do a little bit of a different spread today. Ooh, we got a 9 of Cups. Very good way to start out. We're going to do half Thoth and half Rider-Waite. All right. We got happiness, but we also have endings here. Okay, we have a 10 of Swords, Knight of Pentacles, 7 of Wands. There's that 8 of Swords. There's us overthinking, right? There's us overanalyzing. That's dwell. That is us dwelling and ruminating on obstacles. But what does the 10 of Swords say? Let it go. Have a sense of humor about it. You know, I think that it's perfect. It's a perfect response to our Oracle card. Yeah, we don't want to overthink it. We just want to move on. If it's gone, it's gone. If it's done, it's done. And because look what's going to replace it, a 10 of Cups. This is good. This is wonderful. This is bliss. That's everything there. That's a dream come true. That's what's on the other side of your obstacles, okay? So now for the Path of the Serpent, we're going to switch over to the Thoth Tarot, or the Rider-Waite. Here we have an Ace of Wands. We have a King of Cups. 4 of Pentacles, and the Fool at the end. I don't do reversals. I think you know that about me. So we've got some good stuff here, don't we? Let's select our mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown, and we're going to set this down just right over here with our little alien Simon Mork Ripley right there on top. Now, we're not going to look at that card until the very end. It will tie everything together. It will give us the confirmation that we need at the end of the reading. If at any moment during this message you feel like you know what that card might be, put your prediction in the comments, all right? Now, as we look around the room, interesting thing we see here, we see all of this, and then one major, just the Fool. Just the Fool feels like freedom. It feels like things are changing forever. I think that this is a big obstacle that is concluding. You're finally getting done with this thing, finally realizing that something was the obstacle. We're getting out of the bird cage, and we're getting all this freedom, all this bliss. I think it's going to be a really good week for you. I feel like it's going to be a bit of a life-changing week. Yeah, we've got fire and fire. We've got water and water and water. We've got air and air. We've got earth and earth over here. Okay, so it's fairly balanced, you know. I think a lot of water energy, and I think that's a very good thing to have that, because I feel like we're really in search of that happiness, you know, that lasting success, the happiness that keeps on happening. We start off with the 9 of Cups here, and this is a card of happiness and pleasure. It's a satisfaction. Okay, I think this is going to be a good week for enjoying the good things in life. I feel like you're somebody who knows what they want, you know. I feel like this is what you're looking for, is like the enjoyment of life, you know. To me, this is a kindness. This is contentment. This is kind of like big ideas. I feel like you have these super abundant plans or super abundant goals or dreams for your life. This is abundance on the physical, financial, mental, emotional, and spiritual creative planes. So I feel like it's kind of like this is the hope that we have for our life. And I think that if we can identify whatever the blockage is, and if we can overcome that last obstacle, again, don't dwell on the obstacle, just let it go. Just overcome it. Just do what needs to be done to get over that, right? So this is like that satisfaction of all of these deeper desires and drives that you have for your life. It's going to be, feels like it's going to be a very, very good week, okay? I think it's the week of getting over the obstacle. I think it's the week of that obstacle finally coming down. So it's kind of like a card that's saying dream big. dream big and then allow yourself the freedom to go after that dream and to get that and accomplish that. It's not a time for overthinking. It's not a time for dwelling on the obstacles. What we have here is a Ten of Swords. Now, this is, to me, a birdcage card. It's the realization that something is just not worth the effort anymore. This is something that seems like a desiccated, pointless kind of thing that we really, if it weren't so serious, it would almost be comical, right? This is something that we need to let go of. It's the end of a delusion. It's the end of the old life, the old restrictive life where we're not achieving our goals. Whatever the obstacle is, it feels like this is a week for recognizing something that isn't something. This is the pointless card. Okay, this is something that perhaps we've been believing was an obstacle, but really is just vapor. It's nothing. There's nothing there. Okay, this is a card that sometimes calls for a sense of humor. It's kind of like saying, there's something that we have to be able to laugh at right now. And maybe that laughter is a way to bring us out of our overthinking energy. So if there's something that you're sort of going through this week, or something that's coming to an ending for you, or if you're trying to get past something, humor might be, oddly enough, it might be good to try to laugh at something too, and to bring a little bit of a sense of humor into your life. And maybe not laughing at your problems, but to find some sort of an emotional release through laughter and humor. I don't feel like we don't talk about that enough. You have that Fool card too. And the Fool is it's a jester, right? So there's this idea of kind of a sense of humor being brought into things. But this is also, to me, it makes me wonder if there is something, I keep getting this idea that there's something that you haven't gotten over yet. Okay, that there's some kind of some kind of an ending that's taking place, and rather than dwelling on that, I feel like humor is the way to go. I feel like almost just walking through something like it's immaterial. And that's what this card could signify also, that we've been dwelling on things in life that have been immaterial, that have no actual bearing on what you're doing right now. Okay. This is sometimes also a creative impulse that's being blocked by overthinking, or blocked by this kind of self-sabotage. Okay. Sometimes what's keeping us in the birdcage is just our willingness to stay in the birdcage. It's our inability to just check the lock and be like, oh, the door's open. I can just walk out. I kind of can't help but think of a cartoon where there's just a bird that's stuck in a cage, but it's just you can tell it can easily fit through the bars, but it just doesn't. So I feel like there's something that's kind of holding you back in life that really isn't. And as soon as we push against it a little bit, it's going to fall. Or it's just you're in this bird cage, this prison cell, but the bars are 2 feet apart, and it's obviously I can just kind of squeeze my shoulders together and I can get out of there. Okay. And I feel like there is that kind of almost a sense of humor about things right now. I feel like Spirit's trying to bring in a little bit of laughter into your life in some way. Yeah. But I feel like it's a good week for kind of recognizing the absurdity of some of our problems. Being able to laugh at ourselves a little bit, I think, is good medicine. Okay, and they say laughter is good medicine anyway. Laughing at ourselves might be some good medicine too. I think that there's an obstacle here that is easier to get through than you believe. I feel that our overthinking is what is going to keep us locked up in something. Okay? I think for some of you, this is the recognition that you've been dwelling on something or fighting against something that is really there's a simpler solution than you realize. And it's almost in a comical way. It kind of feels like you've been trying to pick a lock for hours and it's just so stressful, but then you realize that there's another door right next to you that's you could just walk right through. Why are you dwelling here? Why are you so worried about this thing here? And so there's some kind of almost a futility that I feel like we've been putting effort into something that we really don't need to solve for some reason, yeah? Kind of the energy that I'm getting with this card. But let's keep going. You have a Knight of Discs down here. This is a card really of, somebody that is planting seeds into a very fertile soil and is realizing that, something can manifest right now. And it's like we're trying to take advantage of circumstances. I think that this is the realization. It's almost like, it's almost like you've been packing your bags and you've been putting things in boxes, but you don't really know why. You've been stockpiling things or saving things or putting together little kits, and you don't know why you've been doing it, but it's like you've been in preparation for something all along, okay? I think that this is somebody who is surveying their life and realizing that right now is like the prime time to make a move. Okay, now it's like everything, suddenly you realize that the path is there, you're on your horse, you've got all your tools, and you're thinking, why don't I just go now? Why don't I just do it now? Yeah, and it's kind of like, well, it's going to be a long trip, and I'm going to need a lot of food, I'm going to need a lot of water, I'm going to need a horse, I'm going to need a shield and a mace, I'm going to need some armor. Oh, wait a minute, I have all that stuff. Okay. So I feel that this is you realizing that the time and place right now has been set up for you, and so there's something that it's like suddenly you realize that you're in the right time and you're in the right place now, and all we have to do is kind of giddy up. Yeah, a lot of you may be looking at a very tall mountain and thinking it's too high to climb. Okay, we may be looking at something and thinking, there's a lot of challenges on that mountain, okay? But we realize that we don't have to go from zero to the very top of the mountain in sort of one big step. And so we're looking at this challenge and we're seeing the whole mountain is one big challenge. It's made up of these little tiny obstacles that are probably very easy. But you put them all together in one lump and it seems like one big lump of a challenge. So we're dwelling on those obstacles because we are seeing them all together. We're surveying the big obstacle. We're seeing them all at once instead of just looking at it like, okay, let's break it down into smaller tasks. And then they don't seem so insurmountable. Okay, so this is a week for that. This is a week for not taking your obstacle as one big obstacle, but breaking it down. Even with that 10 of Swords, breaking it down into all these individual little obstacles that may not seem like obstacles at all. So don't dwell on how you're going to surmount the obstacles that are presently in your way by looking at the future obstacles, right? So this is kind of like, focusing on those obstacles that are presently in your way. What are the things that you need to face today? Not anticipating the things that we're going to be challenged with tomorrow and the next day and the day after and taking everything as one big obstacle. So I think that the message here for a lot of you is focus on the challenge that's right in front of you. Don't make it bigger than it needs to be. Okay? And find the simple solution, maybe a little bit of laughter. Yeah. And certainly don't spend a lot of time dwelling on the future obstacles or all the things that are coming next. All right. The Seven of Wands back here has been showing up for a lot of you lately. I feel that there might be an opportunity this week for you to defend someone or something. I feel like this is kind of we're standing up for the little person now, like we're sort of defending the underdog in a way, or we are the underdog maybe. So I feel like there's a situation where maybe there's bullying going on, or there's kind of like, it's unfair odds. It's like 10 against 1 or 6 against 1 maybe. And so I feel like you might be coming to the aid of somebody. You might be really showing a kind of courage this week where you're defending, someone that you care about or a loved one or something. Maybe they're involved in something that just feels like it's not really a fair fight, I feel like a lot of you are filled with a real zeal for your work right now, a real passion. I think a lot of the good stuff is coming in. Let's not forget about that 9 of Cups, that 10 of Cups, the King of Cups, and the Fool here, okay? So I feel that it's a lot of your hard work now is paying off, and I think that maybe in your life you've been consistently the underdog, and maybe that's bringing you the most reward and the most satisfaction now. If the odds are, 6 against 1 and you're the 1, well, when you succeed, it's going to feel really good. If it's 6 against 1 and you're the 6, well, you get the win. How good's that going to feel, So I think coming from behind, I think that kind of underdog energy really feels better in the long run, when you do succeed. Okay, so I feel like there's been some opposition in your life, and there might still feel like it still might feel like an uphill battle. Okay, I feel that you're able to channel a lot of your emotional energy into this kind of never giving up. This is someone that will never wave the white flag. This is someone that never throws in the towel no matter what is thrown at them. Yeah, and I feel like this has been your past energy, and I feel like this is still kind of a consistent way that you operate now. Yeah, and I feel that, you may not have a really big team around you, but the team you do have is real scrappy, right? I'm feeling that with you now, and I think that there is a lot of merriment coming into your life this week. This 9 of Cups, I can't help but love that card. It's the happiness that keeps on happening, But first we have to deal with the swords, right? That 8 of Swords, the dwelling, the rumination that we get with the indecision we get with the 8 of Swords. This might be really a card that's saying avoid any of the unnecessary, debates or discussions or any very narrow or petty kind of interactions or conversations. Don't let the little things interfere with your big plans. Interfere with the work that you have in this, maybe the immediate obstacle in front of you. Don't let the little things get in the way. Okay? Stay focused. And stay, this is a card really where you can kind of pay attention to the details, okay? That you're able to, in some way, control your mind and control circumstances and control the thought process. But sometimes the idea is that it becomes too narrow. That we end up just looping back in figure 8, right? 8 of Swords. We just kind of loop back in on the same problems and the same solutions. So if you're trying to solve something this week, make sure that you think outside the box. Make sure that you don't just keep repeating the same things. If we tried once and it doesn't work, let's tweak it a little bit and try again. Let's not just keep trying the same thing over and over and over again. We have to be versatile, okay? And I think it's also a card that's saying let's not overcomplicate things. Let's forgive more than we latch on to things. Because some things are just going to be distraction and interference in your life. Okay, and I think right now what you need is focus. So don't let your mental energy get too tangled up in other drama or in the dwelling on the future or the anxiety or anything like that. Okay, simplify, I think, is a big idea here for you. I feel like in some ways there's some oppositional energy in your life right now. I almost feel like there is the feeling that somebody is trying to interfere with your work or trying to distract you, or that there's just, I'm feeling like somebody is trying to concentrate, but there's somebody that keeps buzzing around them. Does that make sense for you? Because I feel like there's a lot of noise that's interfering with you really concentrating and focusing and really hearing the signal and locking in on the signal, that there's a lot of noise, a static around you. And it could just be that you're having a difficult time concentrating, or it could be that you're in an environment where there's too much noise and there's too many distracting things. So consider that and how you might be able to sort of better get your mind fixed on your goals right now, and especially if there is that kind of an obstacle in front of you that requires your attention. It's going to be very important. But now, the 10 of Cups, right? By the way, hit the like button while you're here. It's a good way to get this video pushed out to everybody that needs to see it. All right, so please hit that like button. I've been forgetting to mention that lately. We have this 10 of Cups. This is satiety. This is satisfaction and lasting success. This is happiness. This is pleasure. This is a material crystallization of your dream. This is a kindness. This is a generosity. This is lasting success. This is like happily ever after. I think a lot of you are going to realize your happily ever after towards the end of the week. I think we're going to overcome whatever this immediate obstacle is, and we're going to have this vision of like everything is coming together. Everything is like working now, And we're going to get that, I think, that confidence and that stunning, blissful vision of the future that's saying, this is going to work, and this is going to last. This is going to be a dream come true. Okay, some of you are getting that dream come true this week. Okay, for some of you, this is the kind of final battle, the final boss, the final obstacle in the way of you getting to the 10, right? We go from a 9 to a 10 of cups. From making that big wish to then that wish coming true, the wish fulfillment. Okay? The thing that's blocking you is that 10 of swords. And that 10 of swords is, the whatever the obstacle is that's trying to thwart your plans. Okay? It's whatever is in your life that needs to be eliminated, needs to be gotten rid of, something that can be dismissed from your life, something that is not serving your needs. Okay? And it may just be that we have to dismantle whatever's been holding us back, piece by piece, obstacle by obstacle, approach the problem in a very methodical and systematic way, not trying to just brute force it, but be strategic. Okay? That 10 of cups, I could just stare at that 10 of cups all day. I mean, that just looks like everything in your life now feels like it's working out. And to me, that is a lasting success. It is not just a temporary bliss, but it's the happiness that keeps on happening, the love that keeps on loving, the dream that just keeps on dreaming. And I feel that it's a lot of good things are coming in. If you're interested in love and romance, I feel like you're making a lot of progress toward that this week. It'd be a good time for kind of, sharing your long-term dreams with somebody. And realizing that, maybe this is all about a relationship for some of you. Even the obstacle is kind of like whatever's blocking the two of you from really realizing your lifelong dream together and family and the house and all that stuff. It might be that you're kind of overcoming that obstacle and realizing that the path toward your future is clear. Okay? It would be a good week. For love, I think, right? It'd be a good week for overcoming whatever obstacle is preventing you from moving toward this shared dream that you might have with your spouse or your partner or whatever. But if you're not in a relationship and you're looking for one, it would really be a good week to get outside of whatever's holding you back. You got to get outside the box. You got to get outside the house and go find somebody that shares your dream. Because this dream is out there for you, and it's real, and it's in the future there, and I think you can have it. But I feel like we've got to get out of that birdcage, okay, which kind of is that comfort zone a little bit. You got to put yourself out there if you want to meet that person that's going to share your dream with you, okay? I feel like this is the week where you can meet that person. And so I feel like there's also the advice here in this card to be very straightforward about what you're looking for. You're on that first date, you're getting to know somebody, like tell them, yeah, you know what, this is the future I want. Like I know what I want, I know where I want my life to go, and no pressure, you're not trying to rush anything, obviously, but like, to understand what it is that you're looking for in life and to not waste too much time on things that don't align with your vision of the future. Okay. Now, we're going to go to our Ace of Wands here. It'd be a good time this week to start new projects. I think for a lot of you, this is going to be a card of starting new businesses, new side hustles, starting any kind of enterprise, or starting a new job, starting a new craft, a new activity, a new project. But the caveat is, if it's something that you're already interested in, something that you already have a natural talent for, it's most likely to be successful. Okay? This is a rush of energy. but it's something that is natural. Okay? And so it could be that if you're trying to solve this problem or this obstacle this week, this energy is useful for you too, because I feel like this is like your solution is going to be something that isn't contrived. It's not something artificial. It's going to be, you're going to solve the problem by doing something that you kind of do naturally. You're going to solve it by doing something that you already know how to do. Okay? Something that you're already good at or you already have an interest in. This is a natural force. Okay? And if you're looking to start a business or some new project or anything, and even a new relationship, you're going to go with what is familiar. Okay, I think that's kind of the name of the game here. If you're starting that side hustle or that business, it's going to be more successful if it's something you're already good at or you're already interested in. That's the caveat with this card. Okay? So I think it's a good week for starting new things like that if you're so inclined. Now, the King of Cups. This is a very authentic card. And if this is a romantic week for you, this is that card that's saying, be yourself. Okay? Be yourself at all costs. Like, don't try to be someone that you're not. Don't feel as if you have to act differently or say different things or be a different person because of the emotional pressure from other people. See, I feel like the King of Cups is trying to be very authentic. It's like a bubble in the ocean. The bubble is trying to hold on to its integrity. The bubble's trying to just be a bubble. I'm trying to be myself, But there's all this emotional weight around you, this pressure that's trying to crush that bubble, and the bubble just scatters and is gone, right? It gets absorbed by the water. Yeah, I don't know if that's really how bubbles work, but it could, I think. All that air can go across that pressure osmosis or whatever, the concentration gradient, and all the gas kind of, goes into the water and the bubble's gone. It gets assimilated by all the water molecules. And so I feel like this is really in any area of your life, whether it's romance or at work, at school, at home, whatever. Don't let the pressure get to you. Feels like there's pressure for you to become somebody else, or to be absorbed by a group, or to be absorbed into the feelings or the vibe or the values of some other group, which means you're compromising your values. So hold fast to what you want, what you believe, and who you are. Hold on to your integrity and to your authenticity, and don't let it be absorbed or swallowed up by the emotional energy around you. A bubble, right, is a little bit of air in a very hostile environment. So be careful with that. Okay. I also think it's a good time for you to be expressing yourself creatively. This is the mind, your thoughts, your speech, your communication as the way of expressing what's really in your soul. So it's a good time for soul art, soul expression, creative writing, painting, drawing, coloring books, whatever it is, singing, dancing, music, anything that's expressing your sort of authentic self. Okay? Using the mind to sort of, to figure that. I feel like it's very expressive. It's it's a lot of communication. I almost feel like for a lot of you, it's going to be like music or even poetry or prose or open mic type of stuff or something like this, okay? Because this is kind of like you, again, using your mind to express what's inside of you. It's a very, very good week for that. Yeah. Let's keep going. We have a Four of Pentacles coming next here. Four of Pentacles is earthly power. Four of Pentacles is consolidation of resources, okay? It is success. It is, it's very orderly. There's a practical aspect to things with that card. It is a gain of money or even an increase of influence. And I feel that, like right now is a good time for you to realize how much power you have in life. In some area, maybe it's at work. Maybe this is in your school or at home, in your relationships even. I feel like you have a lot more power than you realize. This is somebody that is starting to realize that you kind of vote with your dollar. You know what I mean? And maybe that's part of our King of Cups too, feeling that pressure to be like everybody else, but realizing that you have the power now, that your choices really mean more than you think they do. Sometimes we feel like, I'm just one person. What does my vote matter? Or what does my action, what does my decision matter? It matters a lot. Okay? So I feel like you're in a position where you have a lot of that kind of influence on other people. Maybe, maybe coworkers or friends or family members, like they're noticing what you do, and they're going to follow your example in a lot of stuff. Okay. This is also it could be really a time of kind of conservation of resources. We're building up, we're sort of gaining money, and we're stacking up the coins. Maybe you're saving for something. Maybe you're getting ready for the holidays toward the end of the year. Or you're saving up for the really big Halloween celebration or something, right? It's a good time for kind of taking inventory of what we have. Yeah. I also feel like some of you are getting either recognition or some kind of a promotion to some other kind, to like a new position, or like maybe a position of authority, or like even a higher rank in something, if that makes sense. Okay. We've got to be careful with this card as well, because this could be that we're too strict. We're counting too much. We're too finely, we're counting every single penny. And that's a good thing, right? It's very practical. There's some order there. There's accurate accounting of things. But we want to make sure that it's not coming at the sacrifice or the cost of our relationships. So it's kind of like, if you have roommates or something, and you're weighing the peanut butter to make sure like nobody eats your peanut butter. You're counting every single grain of rice in the rice bag. Let's not take it to that extreme. So there's the implied kind of generosity here, but also having rules and boundaries, saying, look, don't eat my food, I won't eat your food. That's fine, right? If you need something, you need to borrow something, you can ask, and it's no big deal, but respect, right? But also not being not being too much of a dictator about it. You know what I mean? We don't have to count every grain of rice, but we do want to have boundaries. Because you're trying to accumulate, you're trying to make sure that your cupboards don't go bare, that your resources aren't diminished, okay? And so you're trying to build up your wealth also, and so we have to have boundaries. This is a good time for budgets. This is a good time for having a financial plan, establishing that financial plan, so that you can have a good, solid foundation to where that fool can leap into financial freedom, right? For some of you, that's going to be the nature of these two cards together, that Four of Pentacles and the Fool. We're making the tough choices now, maybe tightening our belt now, so the Fool can go have a really, really good time later. So I think that the Four, it's a good time for rules, but not too severe. We don't want to be isolated, but it's a good time to have some kind of limits on ourselves and on sort of other people, yeah. Because especially if we're trying to build this long-term happily ever after, we got to think of the practical side of things too. Okay, now, the crowning achievement here with that Fool card. This is spirituality. This is originality. This is a new beginning. This is a fresh start. This is freedom. This is creativity. Okay, I feel that this is kind of like, I feel like your life is starting again on a higher plane. I feel that there is, the Fool just kind of wants to frolic, after the, there's a real high that happens after you overcome this obstacle, and it may feel like the next phase of your journey here is going to be smooth sailing, okay? Because that obstacle now, and with that 10 of Swords, I kind of feel like maybe this is the last big obstacle, or maybe this is like, we're understanding how we overcome things step by step rather than the whole obstacle at once. And so now it feels like we're just making progress so much faster. We're just like skipping over the obstacles. It's like there's hurdles in front of you. You ever see people that run the hurdles? I can't even get over one. But they're running, and they're just, they're leaping over those hurdles. And it almost is like they're just kind of floating. They're just flying. They're just kind of dancing through life here with this Fool energy. So I feel this is really like, it's really going to be a relief from that pressure and that tension. Well, the Fool gets out of the bird cage, the Fool spreads their wings, and the Fool feels light as a feather. Okay, so I feel that's a good energy for you for this week too. I feel like the Fool is also saying that we're going to have the opportunity to sort of think outside the box. I think for starters, we're kind of thinking in the box for a while. We're doing what comes naturally. We're using our natural talent and skill to solve something. We are thinking creatively. This, I think, is maybe moving into a period of more experimentation. Yeah, of being able to just have like fresh ideas and just having like original kind of brainstorming stuff. And even if it's ridiculous, that we're able to be our eccentric self, and that's okay. Sometimes the Fool is just doesn't care what people think, doesn't care who's watching. Yeah, is just kind of is really being themselves here. So I think this is also a really good energy as we move into the next few weeks. Okay, let's look at our mystery card. I feel like it's really a good energy when we overcome the obstacles. That freedom, it feels like we're just floating. Especially in this is bliss. We're just floating in that bliss, and I feel that's really nice. For the mystery card, I don't know what it's going to be. I will say some pentacles, probably. Let's see what we've got. We've got the Hermit. Interesting. Okay. The Hermit is telling me that your imagination and your sort of inner illumination is going to help you to overcome whatever this obstacle is. This is also a card that's kind of going off trail. This is a card that's saying you're finding your own way. So I feel that Eight of Swords, that rumination where we keep looping back in on the same ideas. And so to me, it kind of has to do with like neuroplasticity and stuff, right? That Eight of Swords is like, I keep thinking of the same things in the same way, and I keep trying the same things. And so when we have these cards together, we keep banging our head against the same wall, we keep getting the same result. And we keep doing it again and again and again and again. Nothing changes if nothing changes, right? So we're just kind of looping back in on the same thing. We're getting frustrated because nothing's happening. We're not overcoming the obstacle. And it's kind of like, the door's locked, so I keep checking the handle. And then I don't know what else to do, so I just check the handle again. Yeah, it's still locked. And then I go and I tinker around, putter around, and I check the handle again. No, it's still locked. Like, it's not going to magically unlock itself, you know what I mean? So we don't have to keep going back to the same solutions when we've already tested them and they don't work. The Hermit now is kind of deviating from the normal, going off trail. It's like the Eight of Swords is us pacing a circle in the carpet. And the more we're pacing that circle in the carpet, the more we're pacing around, the deeper the groove gets in our brains, right? And so it's harder and harder for the Hermit to deviate from that circle because habit, right? When we do things over and over again, it becomes automatic. It becomes very easy for us to keep doing it, even if it doesn't work, even if it's maladaptive. And so it takes really an effort of will to go off trail and to deviate from that groove, right? And that's where we learn. That's where we grow and evolve. That's where we have other ideas. Light bulbs. Maybe that Fool is like a light bulb moment. It could be, we get a light bulb here with the Sun in Gemini. A sudden realization of how to get through this obstacle. And it's not the same thing we've always been doing. Even the Ace of Wands could be an obstacle. It's saying it's not a complex tool that we need. It's a very simple thing that I already know how to do. But I just didn't think of it, The Hermit now is thinking of it. So the Hermit is that illumination coming from within. This is a period of divine inspiration. It's also a period of prudence. We're not going to overspend, right? We're planning for the future. We're trying to build up wealth and build up happiness and build up that happily ever after. So there's a little bit of frugality here, kind of clipping coupons and that sort of thing. It's an unexpected current that's going to solve this problem for you. It's also, this is a card of solitude, obviously, right? That's kind of the Hermit's main thing. It's like, there's solitude here with the Hermit. And yeah, I feel that, like, for some of you, if you're looking for love, if you're looking for your happily ever after, you got to come out of your shell. You got to come out of hiding. You got to get out of your solitude and go be the fool. Go meet people. Go dance and be silly and have fun and have humor. I've got it too, a little bit. And that's how you're going to attract the right people. And that's how you're going to get to know people and loosen up a little bit. Yeah, it's kind of the vibe. Anyway, if you want to go deeper with this, just click on through to the extended reading. Click on the join button that's right below there. We're going to do an I Ching hexagram. We're going to do oracle cards. We will do love and money clarifiers. And we'll do the yes-no coin. Libra, I thank you, I love you, and I'll see you there.